Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? What we're going to be talking about today are foods that are actually safe to eat after their expiration date, okay? And these are not foods that have been preserved in any type of way. Like you didn't Mylar bag it, you didn't pressure can it, you didn't do anything to it, okay? These are just, they've been in the fridge, they're fine, okay? So the first one, first let me say expiration dates. Okay, expiration dates, which are often called sell bys, right, or best buys, okay, they can be looked at as a suggestion for certain food products. It'll save you money, decrease waste, both of which are things that we love, honestly, considering we don't want you consuming rancid meat, chunky milk. I know. That's just gross. So the food industry probably doesn't want anyone knowing about this, but what do I care? So the first one is yogurt. You know, those tasty probiotic cultures in Greek and low-fat yogurt are good in the fridge for about 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, no matter its sell-by date. But if your yogurt produces mold or extra fluid, throw it out, please. The next one is oil. So whether you buy Pam spray, the non-stick sprays, or olive oil, whatever, the USDA says that most cooking oils are safe for up to a year after opening, no matter what the label says. Please store your oil in a dark pantry. Screw the lids on tight to prevent oxidization. The next one are beans. Beans are good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you... Okay, so it's the musical fruit, You know the song. So, these legumes can essentially last for an eternity, okay, if they're dried out. The cooked beans, on the other hand, should be consumed within about 5 days. Coffee creamer. They come in a plethora of flavors, from vanilla to chocolate toffee truffle. And this creamer is often loaded with preservatives. Therefore, it can last 4 weeks after its best by date. As a rule of thumb, though, chuck it after it's been open for about 3.5 weeks. The next one is one that we all have in our pantries, and it's pasta. Although in my Italian household, probably won't have a spare, but we do, because we stockpile forgotten boxes of pasta lying around. If it did, that dry pasta would last about 2 years past its best by date. If the pasta box is already open, the pasta should be consumed within a year. Okay, but this, like I said, is not food that we did not preserve it. Okay, we didn't Mylar bag anything, nothing. Okay. The next one is eggs. Everyone loves eggs, or eggy wags, whatever. As they're deemed in a clockwork orange. As delicious and versatile as they are, rotten egg smell is atrocious. It is. So they stay fresh for a while, as you can eat your eggs 2 or 3 weeks past their expiration date. The next one is milk. While this may be a surprise, most cartons of cow juice can remain fresh for about 5 days past their expiration date. Non-fat milk typically lasts up to 10 days past the expiration date. Obviously, if you see a little chunk of munk starting to happen in there, can it. Now, spices. They are critical to our taste buds and to our prepper pantries. Yes, but people used to travel overseas for this stuff. But have your spices been collecting dust in your pantry for years? We all know they have. It's okay. Spices are good for up to 3 years past their expiration dates, and salt is pretty much eternal. The next one is honey. Yes, nature's sweetener, and Winnie the Pooh's favorite treat. It never goes bad. No. The natural preservative sometimes crystallizes over time, but running its container under hot water fixes the problem. The best by date is simply a guide on when the honey is in its prime. All right. The next one is oats. Now, whether it's for your cookies or for your oatmeal or chilling in the fridge overnight, studies have shown that the common grain can stay fresh for decades. All right, it can outlive you. But since we're not barbarians, we suggest enjoying your oats for just about 2 to 3 years subsequent to opening them. So the next one is La Chocolate. According to Eat By Date, pantry-bound chocolate bars last 2 to 4 months. But after the video that I just did, I suggest making sure your chocolate doesn't have any cadmium or lead in it. And fridge-bound bars last 6 to 8 months. Don't fear that the film that forms on the tasty treat's surface. It's called chocolate bloom, or so they say. And it happens when the cocoa butter melts and it rehardens. Now the next one is something that we all have in our prepper pantries, and it's called powdered milk. Now, while powdered milk tends to remind us of sci-fi astronaut food, it's quite convenient, really. It's all I ever buy. And it's in its original packaging. Dry milk will last up to 2 years past its best by date. In an airtight container, it's good for about 10 years. All right. So the next one is our favorite coffee. Yes. Grab your coffee, maybe a snick snack or two, and let's find out the rest. So, it's nature's crack. Really, truly. And what would we do without this delicious bean juice? Unopened, ground coffee will last for about 4 months, or so they say, right? But we preserve our coffee because we're not crazy. But in a dark pantry, up to 2 years past that date. If you store it in the freezer, va-va-va-voom, it's good. So, the next one is dried fruit. Now, you may not be jumping for joy with this one, but if you happen to be a dry fruit devotee, which I am, you should know that the sweet, chewy stuff is good for a year past its expiration date, and in the freezer, nature's candy is immortal, like a vampire. So the next one is uncooked rice. When talking white rice, the versatile carb-filled grain can last for up to 3 decades when stored in airtight environment. Otherwise, it lasts from 4 to 5 years past its best by date. Brown and wild rice lasts approximately 7 months past the best by date. Okay. Now, the next one is cheese. Now, whether you love it or you hate it, the polarizing food can last way beyond its expiration date. And the USDA says that soft cheese can stay fresh 1 to 2 weeks in the fridge. Now, while refrigerated, unopened hard cheese can be consumed for up to 6 months afterwards. All right. Now, the next one is lettuce. So the leafy veggie can start looking slimy, sludgy, and downright sad. And if it's left in the fridge for too long, but before you know it, throw it out. Okay, throw out the lettuce. Please keep the crisp and the ditched and the wilted. Just throw it out, no matter the expiration date. Don't waste food. Okay, but if it's all gross and whatever, throw it out. So the next one is vinegar. The bitter taste of vinegar adds a pop of zest to salad dressings, does it not? Potato chips, dipping sauces, not to mention it makes for a great home cleaning solution. Now, while Vinegar Institute claims that vinegar lasts indefinitely, we suggest tossing it after 5 to 10 years. Yes. So the next one are cookies. What kind of cookies do you dare speak about? Well, even Cookie Monster would pass on this plate of stale cookies, although store-bought cookies are loaded with preservatives. All right. And keeping the package tightly closed will keep them crunchier for longer. With homemade or bakery cookies, the oil will start smelling rancid when they're due for the trash. Okay. And the next one is AP flour. Now, this soft baking ingredient should be kept in the fridge after opening. And when stored properly, it can stay fresh for up to 8 months. Now, like I said, this is before food preservation. Okay. It'll stay good for about 8 months past its best by date. Whole wheat flour, on the other hand, it's good for about 4 to 6 months after that. Okay. So I do have some pictures that I'm going to throw up here for shelf stable canned goods, all right, and the stuff in the fridge. All right, here you go. All right, guys, that's all for this video. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fearless. Ciao.